Another individual had come before us on a different position and had some history with the Department of Corrections in New York. And part of my process, I had been doing some research. I read the 78-page report, federal report from New York on the Department of Corrections. And I guess one of the things that I came out of that report was a shock at what was going on in the facilities and whether or not the people higher up had enough interaction with those facilities in order to know what was going on. So what can you say to assure people that you're not going to be, in some type of lofty place, which I don't think you're going to be because of your experience. You know all of the rungs all the way through it. But just to assure people that our process is that we have the control, keep the control, do the supervision, and make the changes that need to be made.
So I understand that question. Let me share a story. So I started as the deputy commissioner back in November. So a little over a year later, I have almost 40,000 miles on the car, and it's because I frequently stop at these facilities. Especially, it's not uncommon for me if a traumatic event occurs at a facility. I will either be at the facility or I will be at the hospital. I feel most comfortable when I'm interacting with our staff. And to be quite honest with you, it's the boots on the ground who actually know what's going on. So the more you interact with those folks, the better off that you are in terms of being an effective leader. It's not uncommon for me with all of the meetings and things that I have to go through. I know our 15 facilities are all over the state. I will stop, and I don't stop with an entourage. I stop on my own. And it's not uncommon for me to go into the cafeteria where the inmates are eating and hang out with the correction officers. It gives me a feeling and understanding of what they're up against, and you can rely on me to continue to do that.
Can you tell me what the process is in corrections for reporting of incidences that have to do with excessive force and how they're handled?
Yep. There's two types of events that can occur in a correctional facility, a planned and unplanned event. Normally, an unplanned event, you may have limited capability in terms of the intelligence gathering and video technology that would be available to you. Because it's a circumstance where it just could be in the moment. But all of those instances are reviewed at an administrative level. If the facility administrator, the warden, makes a decision that there was some inappropriate activity, something that would not be aligned to our policies as it relates to application of force, they would move that up to the next level, and a decision is made at that level whether to move it to our security division, which is kind of the internal affairs of the department, or to conduct a facility-based or district-based investigation. If the significance of the event is very significant, we may not allow that employee to have interaction with other inmates, or we may place that employee on administrative leave. But all of those incidents are reviewed. A planned event is more reliable video, and there's a whole protocol in the application of force as it pertains to that, how many people involved, and ensuring that they have the proper training and that we have the appropriate notifications prior to the event occurring, so that we can make some decisions as to how we want to apply that force.
There seemed to be a large occurrence of excessive use of force against adolescents and punitive segregation against adolescents and not protecting adolescents from either employee physical violence or inmate-to-inmate violence. What do we have in Connecticut that ensures that that particular very vulnerable section of our population is adequately protected?
We don't use restrictive placement for offenders ages 14 to 17 years of age. We use other types of avenues to address that circumstance. The primary mission with that population is their education. They're mandated to be in school. When an event like that occurs, and if you put them in a restrictive environment, they're not going to have access to those types of things. So it's counterproductive to our statutory obligations. So what we do is we look at other alternatives. Manson Youth Institute is a designated facility that deals with this primarily. The York Correctional Facility also deals with it, but they don't have as many juvenile females. So on the grounds of that facility, we have a DCF representative, and we work with various advocacy groups to rely upon best practices. I think we're in a better place today than we were a year ago, and we're moving pretty aggressively and making some substantial changes as to the operation of that particular facility. We have really good administration there, and the staff get it.